At the end of 1978, a 34-year-old technician from the Institute of Computing Technology at the Chinese Academy of Sciences arrived at work on time. After skillfully boiling water and exchanging a few words with the old man at the message center, he took the newspaper of the day. He brewed tea, crossed his legs, and prepared to pass the boring morning by reading the People's Daily. He was intrigued by a news article about cattle farming, not because he had an interest in raising cows, but because he noticed a change in the style of the People's Daily. Previously, it was all about struggle, all about class, but now there was content about raising cows to become rich. It seemed that the climate was changing. Although no one would believe it at the time, how could China be engaging in that capitalist business? This middle-aged man was none other than the famous Lu Chuanji of Lenovo. He had already sensed the economic atmosphere. In this year, the discussion on practice being the sole criterion for testing truth had demolished two dogmas. Deng Xiaoping had become the core of the second generation of central leadership, and the focus of the party and the country had gradually shifted to socialist construction. But amidst all this, Lu Chuanji felt lonely because no one would believe that China's economy was entering a new chapter. In that year, at the National Scientific Conference, it was proposed that science and technology were productive forces and intellectuals were part of the working class. Among the 6,000 participants in this scientific and technological conference, only 150 were under the age of 35, including a young man who was 33 years old. He was a representative of the People's Liberation Army, and later he left the military system and founded the most powerful technology company in China, called Huawei. This person was none other than Ren Zhengfei. In addition, in 1977, the college entrance examination, Gaokao, had partially resumed, but it was fully restored in 1978. That year, 6.1 million people participated in the Gaokao, and 400,000 students were admitted to universities. Being a college student at that time was highly prestigious. Among them was Ma Weihua, a worker from the Railway Bureau, who became the head of China Merchants Bank 21 years later. There was also Duan Yongji, a young teacher who later became the boss of Satun Company and a prominent figure in Zhongguancun. The Lu Yongxing brothers also took the Gaokao, but due to their humble background, they were not admitted. They spent their lives running a pig farm and now they are the owners of New Hope Group. In the radio class at South China University of Technology in Guangzhou, three good friends emerged, Chen Weirong, Huang Hongsheng, and Li Dongsheng. These three classmates would later dominate the Chinese color TV industry, founding Konka, Skyworth, and TCL respectively. During that era, Mengniu's Zhensheng was still feeding cows, and Zhengtai's Nan Suanhui was repairing shoes on the streets. Today, Wang Shi, who enjoys dating and mountain climbing while cooking braised pork, used to drive away mosquitoes and flies on construction sites. What supported his ideals, however, was literature and classical music, such elegant forms of art. Foreigners also reported on China's economy back then. They found the hereditary nature of certain job positions quite puzzling and mocked the loose working conditions in state-owned factories. A Japanese journalist said that the equipment in a steel mill was from the 1950s, and they were even using steam equipment made in England over 140 years ago. It was simply astounding to the world. Everything about China seemed utterly unimaginable. It was lagging behind in every aspect. And the most fatal thing was that the operators of these factories didn't even realize how backward they were. They never worried about their products not selling.